Welcome back. In this semester, we are going to deal with a new subject, quantitative techniques for business. In the last sum, we learned basic numerical skills. It includes various mathematical problems, mathematical techniques, and we have learned in detail various methods that has to be studied in that subject. And regarding quantitative techniques of business, it is also a part of the maths subject. And why we are learning this maths subject in our syllabus is that in business we have to face different problems, and at the same time we have to deal and solve various issues in a day-to-day basis. And for solving those issues or those problems, management used to try out various methods and techniques. And one such method is application of various mathematical tools in business issues. And quantitative techniques for business is just like a basic numerical skills, but when compared to basic numerical skills, it is an advanced tools and techniques for dealing with issues related to business. So it is actually a tool that helps the management in decision making. And we will discuss in detail various areas that comes under quantitative techniques for business. So let us begin with first part, module 1, quantitative techniques. In this module we will be dealing with the theoretical aspects of the overall subject. In here you will get an idea about the areas which we are going to cover in this subject. So let us go to the introduction chapter, quantitative techniques. Usually during the course of our study, we use QT instead of quantitative techniques. It's just an abbreviation of quantitative techniques. So you may come across a term QT during the course. Try to understand that it means quantitative techniques, but during the exam try to expand the abbreviation QT. So for the time being we will be using QT. And regarding QT may be defined as those techniques which provide the decision maker with systematic and powerful means of analysis and helps in exploring policies for achieving predetermined goals. So the quantitative techniques helps in decision making process in business and industry and other fields, and they involve the use of numbers, symbols, and other mathematical expressions. So quantitative techniques can be mentioned as an objective in character. And the meaning of objective in character means quantitative techniques is always based on facts and figures. To simplify that sentence, it means quantitative is based on numbers. Just like the name suggests, it gives emphasis or it studies details or data based on quantitative informations. So that is the concept of quantitative techniques. Quantitative techniques refers to those devices or methods in which various facts or data are used in quantitative or numerical forms, that is numbers, symbols, or any forms of mathematical expressions. If you have gone through the areas of basic numerical skills, you will understand that concept because it uses various mathematical aspects in decision making process of the business. Just like the basic numerical skills, we will be learning all those aspects of mathematics in this paper also, but areas which we are going to deal will be the advanced areas of the previous one. So, quantitative techniques serves as a powerful instrument in solving a number of critical problems and taking appropriate decisions in the face of uncertainty. The quantitative techniques is usually applied in the field of business, industry, and commerce, and such techniques are very useful and helpful for the top level management in taking adequate decisions. And why the management rely on all these techniques is that the ultimate objective of the business is to maximize profit and minimize cost, and these application of these techniques helps the management in achieving those objectives. So let us go to the different classifications of this area. Usually quantitative techniques is a wider area, and we can classify the quantitative techniques on the basis of its nature into three categories. One is mathematical quantitative techniques, other is statistical quantitative techniques, and other is programming quantitative techniques. These are the major classifications of quantitative techniques, and we will discuss in detail these three techniques and what are the areas that comes under these techniques. So let us begin with mathematical quantitative techniques. As the name suggests, it's a use or application of various mathematical tools and techniques so as to help the management in taking decisions. So a mathematical technique is a technique in which quantitative data are used along with the principles of mathematics is known as mathematical quantitative techniques. For the time being, we will be using the abbreviation MQT. So let us discuss in detail various tools that comes under mathematical quantitative techniques. First one, permutations and combinations. It is one of the techniques that are used in mathematical quantitative techniques, and the concept of permutation and combination means it is a mathematical tool to identify the number of times a certain combination or arrangement can be made. So first of all, let us discuss with permutation. Permutation is a mathematical device of finding the possible number of arrangements which can be made of n different things taking r at a time in different possible orders. And there is a formula regarding that. The concept of permutation means, for example, if you are given 4 alphabetic letters and you are asked to find if you are allowed to take 2 alphabet letters at a time. Out of 4, if you are asked to take 2 alphabet letters at a time, how many combinations or how many arrangements can be made? How many arrangements can be? For example, if you are given 4 letters BINU and you are allowed to take 2 letters at a time, so how many combinations can be made? BI, IB, NU, UN, and likewise. So that is a concept. So when the application situation become complex, means if you are given 100 letters and out of which if you are allowed to take 50 letters at a time, how many combinations can be made? In that case, you are going to use an equation for finding that situation. So during the business situations, we come across such areas. You need to find the different arrangements that can be made on the basis of various numbers, alphabets, or facts and figures taken at a time. So that case, we use the method known as permutation. There is a formula for finding the concept of permutation, and we will discuss in detail the concept of permutation in the coming sessions. So that is the concept of permutation. Next one, combinations. Combination is a method of finding the possible number of arrangements or subsets out of n different things taken R at a time in a particular order and without repetition of the things. Note the point, in a particular order and no repetition of the certain arrangement. There is an equation for finding the combination also. We will discuss that part in detail in the coming sessions. And regarding the difference between combination and permutation. In combination you will be given, as I have mentioned earlier, you will be given certain numbers or letters. You can form any number of formations on the basis of certain letters or numbers taken at a time. But in combination, the concept is same, but you can't repeat the combination again and again. For example, earlier I have mentioned that if you are given letters B, I, N, U, and you can take two letters at a time, means B, I, N, U, but you can't repeat the combination with the same letter. For example, two letters means B, I. You can't again use IB because the same letters are repeated. Even though the arrangement is different, the letters are repeated. In combination, you can't repeat the letters again and again. It has to be different. That is the concept of combination. You may find it confusing, don't worry. We will discuss in detail the permutation and combination concept in the coming sessions. So next one, set theory. A set theory is a modern mathematical device which solves various types of critical problems on the basis of sets and their operations like union, intersection, etc. Usually we give certain names to a certain group of items or a certain category of items. For example, in your class there will be 30 boys and 20 girls. So you can say that the class consists of 50 students. So students is the name that is given to a group of items. So just like that. Alphabets. Alphabets is a term that is given to a set of 26 letters. Integers. Integers is a term that is given to a certain group of numbers. Odd numbers. Odd numbers is a name that is given to a certain set of numbers. So set means it's a name given to a group of items based on some particular characteristics or features. So why we are giving that name to certain group or characteristics? So instead of dealing the entire items by identifying individual names for each category, instead of that, if you group a large set of items based on their common characteristic under one head, it will be helpful in solving various issues or problems pertaining to that. And regarding why the categorization can help in problem means, once you categorize a certain group of items, it will be very helpful in solving the issues or problem relating to that particular group as a whole. That is the concept of set theory, and we will discuss in detail the aspect of set theory in the coming sessions. Then you will get a clear picture regarding the term set theory. Next one, matrix algebra. I hope you all know what is meant by matrix because we have dealt in detail the concept of matrix in the previous paper. So I hope you all guys know the concept of matrix. So I am not going to explain this point again and again. It is a mathematical device of finding out the results of different types of algebraic operations and also finding out the values of unknown numbers on the basis of relevant matrices. and we have dealt different cases that comes under the head of matrix, inverse of a matrix, orthogonal matrix, and numerous cases of matrices, and the various methods for solving the matrix, and the application of matrix methods in solving various business problems. And we have dealt in detail that part in the last session. So let us go to next one, determinants. I again hope that you all know what is meant by determinant. We have dealt the determinant under the head of matrix. It is a powerful device developed over the matrix algebra. It is used to find out the values of different variables connected with a number of simultaneous equations. We have dealt in detail numerous cases regarding the matrix as well as determinant, and the application of both determinant and in matrix along with the inverse of a matrix. So I hope you all know what is the concept of all these terms, and since we have dealt in detail this part in the previous semester, you need not have to study about this area in this sem. So this is part of just a theoretical mentioning in this head. Since the matrix and determinants comes under the mathematical quantitative techniques, the same terms has been mentioned here. We need not have to learn about the mathematical aspects again in this semester, but sometimes in the exams they might ask about matrix algebra or determinants, since it comes under the same head. So just go through the matrix algebra and determinants thoroughly before going into the examination. Next one, statistical quantitative techniques. Statistical techniques are those techniques which are used in conducting the statistical inquiry concerning a certain phenomenon. They include all the statistical methods beginning from the collection of data till interpretation of those collected data. The subject quantitative techniques has a wide usage in business so as to help the management decision making, but at the same time the same area means quantitative techniques is helpful in conducting a numerous types of research studies. In research studies we have to use various tools and techniques, and quantitative techniques is a very important area that helpful in conducting such research studies, and that areas relating to the research studies as well as problem solving issues comes under the statistical quantitative techniques. And I hope you all know what is meant by statistics. And statistical quantitative techniques means all those statistical applications in decision making process. So let us deal with some of the statistical quantitative techniques. First one, collection of data. We all know the main concept of statistics begins with collection of data. One of the important statistical method is also the collection of data. Statistics provides different methods for collecting primary and secondary data. I hope you all learned about statistics in your previous classes. Primary data, the meaning of primary data as well as secondary data. Primary data means data that are collected in first hand. For example, if you interview a certain person and if you collect certain data from that person, it is known as primary data. And secondary data means data which is collected on the basis of references of various books, materials and internets. That is known as secondary data. Secondary data means actually the study of those data that are collected by someone else. And actually secondary data is the primary data of some other persons. That is the concept. And statistics requires the study of primary data as well as secondary data, and the statistical quantitative techniques is very helpful in collection and study of such data. So the next tool of statistical quantitative technique is classification and tabulation. Classification and tabulation of data are the statistical methods used for classifying the data into various groups to facilitate comparison and analysis, and systematic arrangement of data into columns and rows for its summarization. If you remember various problems which we have dealt in basic numerical skill, you can see that you will be given X and F. X means it may be age of the students, or the marks of the students, or number of members in a family likewise. So classification means segregating data on the basis of their characteristics. Why we are segregating like that is, instead of studying the entire details in detail as a junk, if we segregate and study, it will be highly helpful in analysis. And regarding tabulation, if you remember the same case, you can see that you will be given two columns. One consists of X, another consists of F. And why the tabulation means systematic arrangement of data into columns and rows helps in summarization and analysis. That is why you have dealt many problems relating to statistics in the basic numericals paper. You will be given X and F. X and F means X was some data that was collected from a group of person, and F also was information collected from the same group of person. So all these data collected was kept as a group. So from that entire group or entire single large group, it is very difficult to find out the X and F. So for comparison and study, it was segregated into X and F, and those X and F was directly given to you for the analysis. So since it was divided and segregated into X and F, it was helpful for you to apply the equation. So it is because of the statistical quantitative techniques, such data, such combined large data was arranged in a proper order. So that is the meaning of classification and tabulation. Next one, measures of central tendency, dispersion, skewness and kurtosis. The same head has been dealt in the previous semester. I hope you know what is the meaning of central tendency, dispersion, skewness and kurtosis. Measures of central tendency is a method used for finding the average of a series, while measures of dispersion is a method used for finding out the variability in a series, and measures of skewness measures asymmetry of a distribution, and finally measures of kurtosis measures the flatness or peakedness in a distribution. We have dealt all these areas in detail in the previous sum. I hope you all know what is the meaning of all these four heads, so I am not going into that part. Let us go to the next point, correlation and regression analysis. It is an important statistical tool in quantitative techniques. This is the next portion which we are going to study in this syllabus. Correlation and regression is a statistical tool, and the why we are using correlation and regression means, the correlation is used to study the degree of relationship between two or more variables. In our commerce papers, we used to learn like this, that profit is always directly related to sales. When sales increases, profit increases. We know that. And how we develop such a relation means on the basis of such analysis. That is relationship methods, relationship analysis tools like correlation method. With the help of correlation methods only, we learn to identify the relationship between various items. Regarding profit and sales, it is very easy to understand, because when sales increases, profit also increases. There are some variables or some items which we can't directly identify whether there exists any relationship or not. In such situation, we will be using correlation method. We will discuss in detail the concept of correlation in the next module. And regarding regression, regression is an important area in a statistical method. The concept of regression is Regression helps in identifying an unknown variable from a known variable. Simple meaning is that if you have two variables x and y, you know the value of x, but you don't not know the value of y. But there exists a relationship between x and y. In such situations, by using a certain equation, you can exactly find the value of y. Y means unknown value from x. X means known value. X and y, the variables may change depending upon the situation, but the concept is that regression is a method used for identifying an unknown value from a known variable. That is the concept of regression, and we will be learning about the concept of correlation and regression and its application level in detail in the next module. Next one, interpolation and extrapolation. Interpolation is a statistical technique of estimating under certain assumptions non-available figures which may fall within the range of a given figure, whereas extrapolation provides estimate a figure outside the range of the given data. I hope you didn't understand anything. We will make it simple. Interpolation means estimating a unknown value that comes within a range. For example, if you are given a class, we have dealt different cases of class in the previous one: 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. It is a class, and we know what is the concept of class, what is the interval between each items. So just remember the class, and I will give the same case with another example. You are given a class 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 30. Next one we don't know, it is unknown. Next one 40 to 50, 50 to 60. Can you say the class limit of that 30 to next one? We don't know. Can you identify that? What is the higher end of that class? Yes, we can definitely identify, because we don't know the values preceding that class as well as succeeding that class. It was begins from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 30 to we don't know, the next one 40 to 50, 50 to 60. So by using the common logic or the common concept, we can say that since all the intervals of the other classes are the same, we can say the class end limit of that particular class is 40. And how did you identify that it was 40? Through the concept of interpolation, because interpolation is the identification of an unknown value that comes within the range. Within the range was the class begins from 0 to 10, and it goes like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, likewise. So we were dealing with an unknown value that was within these range. Range means within these numbers. That is why we were able to find that unknown value. So the concept of finding an unknown value or non-available figures that comes within the range is known as interpolation. So then what is meant by extrapolation? We will discuss the same concept, the same example. The class was given 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Okay, so 0 to 10, finally 30 to 40. And you are asked to find the next third class that comes after the 30 to 40. Third class after 30 to 40 means after 30 to 40 there will be different types of classes. You need to predict the third class that comes after 30 to 40, and how you are going to find it. Again, it's also easy, because 30 to 40 and the classes preceding 30 to 40 has a equal class interval of 10. So 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. And you are asked to find the next third class. So we are going to find that after 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, and the third class is 60 to 70. See, we identified a class that was outside the range. That is known as extrapolation. Extrapolation means identifying the unknown figures that are outside the range of the given data. That is the concept of extrapolation. I hope you understand the concept. We will discuss about the further points. Next one, index numbers. Index numbers is a measure that is used to study the fluctuations in various phenomena like price, production, operations, etc. over a certain period of time, and they can be used for solving decision making problems. Because index numbers is actually a scale that mentions the activity or the level of operations relating to the subject. So by how we are using index number in decision making is that during the normal course of the operation we may find it difficult to identify the trend or the movement of certain item. Sometimes this fluctuation may be unidentifiable, or it may be due to some other reason we may not able to exactly identify the change in a simple glance. But index numbers help in identifying the change in various items like price. Whenever there is a change in small change in price, sometimes it may be not, we may not find it, identify it easily. But with the help of index numbers, it is able to identify that a certain 0.1% increase was there, or 0.02% increase was there. 0.01% sometimes we may not identify that change, small change, but with the help of index number we are able to find out even the minute change in various items pertaining to a certain period. So index number is actually a scale to study the change in various factors such as price, production, profits, and all those activities that is relating to a certain period of time. That is the concept of index number. Next one, time series analysis. Time series analysis, the analysis of time series help us to know the effect of factors which are responsible for change. These factors are known as trend, seasonal variation, cyclical variation, and irregular variations. As the name suggests, time series analysis means change in various factors with the passage of time. It may be due to trend. Trend means the trend at present may not be the same as the trend in future. There will be drastic change in trend during a certain period of time. Change in fashion is like that. No fashion pattern is consistent over a period of time. It keeps on change. That is the meaning of trend. And seasonal variation, we all know what is the meaning of seasonal variations. At some seasons the production and demand for some goods may be high, and the same item may not be demanded in some other point of time. For example, air conditioners. Air conditioners has high demand during summer season and will be having low demand during winter season. That is the concept of seasonal variations. And cyclical variation is also similar to seasonal variation, but cyclical variations may be related to business, like business cycle, boom, recession, depression, likewise. So those are the cycle situations that comes under the business. And next one, irregular variations. Irregular variations means issues that occur very rarely, like flood, war, famine, volcanic eruption, natural disasters, like that. So, and why we are using all these methods means during the course of business we have to face all these issues, And with the help of time series analysis, which help the management in identifying and analyzing the trend as well as the occurrence of these events. In a mere glance, main issue of the business is in the mere glance we may not find it, we may not identify all these issues, but with the help of these methods we were able to identify with actual facts and figures. That is the concept of these methods. And next one, statistical quantitative techniques. Statistical quantitative control technique is used for ensuring quality of items produced and manufactured. The variation in quality because of assignable causes and chance causes can be known with the help of these techniques. During the present business situations, one of the main issues that has to be faced by the management of the business is that the quality of the product shouldn't go below a certain level, because it will have a adverse effect on the operations and profitability of the concern. And statistical quantitative techniques is one of the method for controlling the quality of the product, because the quality of the product has to be maintained above and beyond a certain level so as to have a good market share within the business. And SQC help the organization maintain the quality as well as to help in covering a large market share pertaining to certain product or services. So these are the various areas that comes under statistical quantitative techniques. We will discuss in detail some of the other techniques that comes under statistical quantitative techniques and some other programming techniques or quantitative technique methods in the next slide. So just go through these theoretical aspects. Even though this is a problem paper, about 75% of the questions might come from theory. So don't neglect theoretical areas. Go through these theoretical aspects. We will discuss in detail the further cases in the next slide.